Let's look at Jeffree Star's old Myspace page and consider his intro, "This world needs me." The way we talked back then was taken by some to be cringe and edgy. We embraced hyperbole, self-aggrandizement, and dramatic declarations with complete sincerity. Our lack of self-awareness and irony would be out of style today. But that same unfiltered earnestness let us go all in on our edginess and vanity without second-guessing ourselves. We didn't yet have a new generation looking back on us critically, and we were essentially the first generation of kids to have a digital footprint that documented our every fashion choice and emotional proclamation. There was no blueprint for how to navigate teen identity in the digital world. When platforms like Myspace and PhotoBucket began hosting our heavily filtered selfies and melodramatic bulletins, we were pioneers in online self-expression, for better or worse. Now, as you're looking at pictures of scene kids, you may be wondering, if this was a way for teens to express their individuality, why do they all look the same? Why do they all dress the same? Why do they all like the same bands? And you'd be right to question that. Thing is, members of a counterculture converging on the same aesthetics, music tastes, and even language is a problem common to all countercultural movements. You can see it in the late 1800s dandies, you can see it in the 1960s with the hippie movement, and you can even notice it with today's alt kids. The sad truth is, true individuality is rare, and true individuals are often ostracized and live on the fringes of society. Think of the French poet Arthur Rimbaud. All that to say, whether or not we were actually being individuals is beside the point. What's important is that being Myspace scene kids made us feel like individuals. Many former scene kids, once they moved on, tried to obsessively erase their scene kid past, looking back with embarrassment and shame, which I think is the real shame. I'm not saying growth isn't important, but sometimes it's essential to honor previous versions of yourself. Those cringy status updates and those neon outfits resonated with us at the time because that's how we genuinely felt. That authenticity, however unrefined, had value. Take Nikifor, for example, a scene icon, not necessarily celebrated for musical excellence. I sometimes show my significant other, who is a pop girly through and through, old scene artists, and while she enjoys Never Shout Never and Katie Gross, she absolutely cannot stomach Nikifor. She thinks his music is a little too in your face. I can look back now and say, wow, Nikifor wasn't all that polished, but I deeply respect how DIY he was. Myspace bedroom pop wasn't about technical perfection or industry polish. It was about creating something from nothing with the limited tools available. The entire scene thrived on this DIY ethos. Kids with basic digital cameras, pirated Photoshop, and affordable recording equipment were creating their own music, fashion, and online personas without waiting for industry validation or a stamp of approval from existing alt subcultures at the time. Looking back, I think this independent spirit was actually one of the most valuable aspects of the scene. Before TikTok algorithms and YouTube sponsorships, scene kids were building audiences and creating content simply because they wanted to express themselves, not because they were chasing metrics or monetization.